A murdered astronaut, a missing data file, and a brilliant pilot trapped in quarantine. Quantum hurls you into danger from the very first page. Beat. Strap in as we decode Patricia Cornwell's high-velocity blend of science, conspiracy, and raw human emotion. Captain Callie Chase and the countdown to launch our story opens at NASA's Langley Research Center, where Captain Callie Chase, quantum physicist, U.S. Air Force pilot, and cybersecurity investigator, runs a covert systems check on the Eve spaceplane ahead of a classified launch. Beat. What should be routine spirals into chaos when a tripped alarm leads Callie to a corpse in a maintenance tunnel, a smear of blood suggesting violent struggle, and evidence of sabotage on the craft's critical quantum circuitry. Beat. Because the flight window is narrow and the mission clandestine, every tick of the clock magnifies tension. Yet Callie's ordered mind seizes on the patterns buried within the mayhem. Beat. Cornwell introduces her heroine with surgical precision. Callie is brilliant but restless, propelled by twin engines of duty and curiosity. She speaks in the clipped shorthand of a test pilot, yet her inner monologue hums with physics metaphors, seeing probabilities instead of certainties. Beat. This duality, headstrong soldier versus contemplative scientist, frames the novel's central conflict. Can rational calculation survive in a universe governed by quantum unpredictability? Beat. The murdered engineer's retina is missing, and an encrypted drive packed with classified data is gone. Emphasis. Sabotage becomes the leading hypothesis, but Callie soon suspects a deeper malign intelligence at work, one capable of breaching NASA's most secure servers and manipulating biometric locks. Evidence points toward an internal actor, and a quietly whispered name surfaces. Calm, Callie's identical twin sister. Beat. By fusing forensic detail with high-tech jargon, ion propulsion residue, entangled particles in the navigational qubits, Cornwell anchors the thriller's velocity and plausibility, keeping the reader grounded even as stakes climb quite literally beyond Earth. Section 1 plants the narrative's explosive seeds: a sabotaged launch, a mysterious twin, and quantum technology coveted by shadow powers. Beat. Like superposition itself, every clue occupies multiple states of meaning, awaiting observation to collapse into truth. Twins in superposition: Callie, calm, and the shadow of betrayal. Identical twins often serve as literary mirrors, but Cornwell rigs hers with funhouse glass. Callie and Calm Chase share DNA, yet diverge radically in allegiance and method. Beat. While Callie wears an Air Force uniform and tracks threats through official channels, Calm has vanished into the grey zones of cyber espionage, leaving cryptic messages that only her sister can decode. Beat. The novel's middle act operates like a quantum entanglement thought experiment. Even when separated, the twins influence each other instantaneously through coded references to childhood memories. A constellation spotted through a telescope on their 10th birthday. A Morse code knock used to sneak past curfew. Beat. These personal artifacts become Callie's compass as she sifts through surveillance logs and drone footage, mapping Calm's invisible footsteps. Emphasis: connection. Pulses beneath every data point, illustrating how intimacy can be weaponized in intelligence work. Yet Cornwell refuses to paint Calm as a stock rogue agent. Flashback sequences reveal her recruitment by a clandestine branch of the intelligence community examining quantum communication for covert ops. Beat. Her desertion was not greed, but a desperate attempt to stop a breakaway faction from arming a quantum-guided kinetic weapon, an orbital spear capable of pinpoint strikes without detection. Beat. Callie's investigation therefore becomes a collision between competing loyalties: loyalty to NASA and national security versus loyalty to blood. Beat. Internal affairs pressures her to produce calm, while a security lockdown immures Callie in a biosafety lab after a mysterious spore sample is found on her suit. The forced isolation functions as both literal and metaphorical observation chamber. Will the twin waveform collapse into alliance or annihilation? Beat. Cornwell leverages the twins' mirrored psychology to interrogate broader themes. How does one quantify trust? Where does identity end and ideology begin? In quantum mechanics, the observer affects the observed. In quantum, the sisters' knowledge of each other's habits becomes both vulnerability and salvation. Beat. Section 2 heightens the emotional amplitude, framing betrayal as a form of entangled destiny. Cutting-edge science, cyber intrigue, and the hunt for the Q-drive Patricia Cornwell sews real scientific theory into the thriller fabric with meticulous craft. Beat. The Q-drive, an experimental quantum propulsion unit, sits at the novel's heart, promising to catapult spacecraft without chemical fuel by harnessing zero-point energy. Emphasis. Revolution is what it represents, and revolution is what it threatens to ignite among nation-states vying for orbital supremacy. Callie discovers that the murdered engineer passed the Q-drive's firmware and implanted a backdoor, rendering the Eve spaceplane a potential Trojan horse. Beat. Whoever controls that exploit can remotely seize the craft once it reaches low Earth orbit, steering it towards sabotage or theft. Beat. The plot morphs into a cyber manhunt as Callie races through code repositories, cross-references, firewall logs, and traces phantom packets bouncing off darknet relays in Prague, Lagos, and Chengdu. Cornwell's background research glitters here. Quantum key distribution, lattice-based encryption, and decoherence thresholds are explained in crisp, digestible prose, never derailing suspense. Beat. She pairs complex equations into stakes. If decoherence occurs mid-flight, the Q-drive detonates. If the backdoor remains hidden, America's newest spaceplane becomes a hijacked missile. Beat. Tension peaks when Callie must venture onto the launch gantry in a Category 3 storm to swap out a quantum chip. Rain lashes the fuselage, lightning traces fractals across the clouds, and time dilation feels palpable, not relativistic, but psychological, as seconds stretch with every dropped screw. Beat. Calm appears through the downpour, not with a weapon, but with the correct firmware patch, forcing the sisters into an uneasy truce. The alliance is provisional. They code side by side, lines of C++ glowing on rugged tablets, while wind screams through guy wires. Beat. Against this cinematic tableau, Cornwell underscores the fragility of both technology and trust. One errant semicolon, one stray doubt, and catastrophe will ripple outward. Beat. Section 3 fuses the novel's kinetic spectacle with intellectual rigor, proving that high-concept science can coexist with pulse-pounding thrills. Observing the uncertainty, themes and takeaways. With the launch hour imminent, Quantum forces its characters, and by extension its readers, to confront the uncomfortable truth that certainty is often illusion. Beat. Just as a particle's position and momentum cannot be simultaneously known, Callie cannot secure both her mission and her sister without accepting trade-offs. Beat. Cornwell distills this philosophical quandary into visceral choices: expose calm and save the program, or shield her and risk geopolitical chaos. Beat. The climax unfolds in 2 theaters simultaneously, a literary double-slit experiment. Inside Mission Control, Callie feeds corrected telemetry to the flight computer while bluffing security brass over headset. At a remote uplink station, Calm initiates a decoy broadcast that lures the hostile faction's drone swarm away from the launch corridor. Emphasis, ambiguity, governs every move. When the Eve finally roars off the pad, engines humming with quantum resonance, no one, not the Pentagon, not the reader, knows who truly won. The back door is patched. But did Calm leave another? Beat. Callie's security badge still pings anomalously, hinting at secrets unsaid. The sisters part with a silent nod across the tarmac, their fates suspended like particles awaiting measurement. By refusing neat closure, Cornwell mirrors the probabilistic nature of the cosmos. Observation alters outcome. Narrative questions outnumber answers. Beat. Yet amid the uncertainty, certain constants endure: the gravitational pull of family, the ethical weight of knowledge, and the human drive to push beyond horizons. Section 4 reframes quantum not merely as a techno-thriller, but as a meditation on how we navigate the unknown.